pivot turns usually will turn us either an eighth of the way around, or a quarter of the way around, or halfway around. Okay? The beauty of a pivot turn is that it's only 2 moves. Both of those moves are steps, okay? So it's just step, step. The first move on every pivot turn is a step forward. So whether you're turning an eighth or a quarter or a half, when you hear pivot turn, think 2 steps, my first one's forward. Okay? So, with that, let's put our weight on our left. If I say we're going to do a quarter left pivot turn, no matter what kind of pivot we do, our first step is forward. The next move, we're going to turn ourselves to whatever our directions were, quarter to the left. We're going to keep our feet planted. We're going to turn ourselves a quarter to the left. Think about your chest getting over there. Your second move and final move is just to take a step on that other foot. That was the whole thing. Okay, so a pivot turn, our right foot's free. Step forward, meaning put your weight on it. Glue your feet to the ground. You're going to make your turn to the left and you're going to step your weight onto that opposite foot. Really important that you put your weight there. Beginners mess this up all the time. They step and they keep their weight on the foot they had just stepped forward on. You can't do that. You're going to be in trouble. It's got to end up on the other foot. Okay, so step forward. That means put your weight. Make the turn and step your weight onto the other foot. You've got to get your weight over there. Okay? Step, turn. Often when we cue it, we'll just say, okay, step, turn. Step forward, turn, getting your weight on that other foot, stepping on it, right? So that's a quarter pivot to the left. We step forward, we turn quarter pivot to the left, we put our weight on it. Sometimes we'll do 2 quarter pivots in a row. So if we do, we step forward, we make our turn, we step our weight on it. Here comes our other one. We know we step forward first, put your weight there, make the turn, get your weight onto the other side, right? So that would be 2 quarter pivots in a row. They can be tricky sometimes for new people, but don't overcomplicate them. They each are just 2 steps. We step forward first, we turn and step on that other foot. We step forward first, we turn and we step on that other foot, right? Okay. The eighth turns. Again, an eighth would just be a little bit, just to the diagonal. Often we do an eighth pivot turn, we do 2 in a row. We do an eighth and then another eighth. So we end up at the quarter from where we started. So let's just try those now. So if we do an eighth turn, again, we know all pivot turns start with what type of step? A forward step, right? Now we're just going to turn a little bit, just to the diagonal, right? Because that's an eighth, but we have to get our weight onto that other foot, right? Step, step. There's our first eighth. We're going to do another. We step forward, we make that little turn, and we step our weight onto the other foot, right? Step, turn, it's also step, 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 right? Step forward, make the turn and step. Step forward, make the turn and step. Got to get your weight onto that other foot. Critical. So a half pivot turn, if we start it with our right foot, we know every turn starts with what kind of step? A forward step. We step, now we're turning half to our left. Half is always directly where the back of our head is pointing, right? It's directly around to where we were. All right, so here's our first step. We're thinking, I gotta get my face facing over there, right? We make the turn, keeping our feet stuck in the ground. This is hard when it's slow. We have to put our weight on that other foot when we end it, right? Step forward, glue your feet down, let them slide, turn and put your weight on the other foot, right? They stay in place, but they have to slide to make the turn. Let's do that half turn again. Step forward, make the turn, shift your weight onto the other foot. All right, if we're gonna do 2 in a row, we step forward, we make the turn and step. Here comes our second one. We step forward, we make the turn and step, right? Let's do it again. Step, turn, step, turn, right? So pivot turns that turn the other way, all right? So if we're gonna do a pivot turn a quarter to the right, right? Put your weight on your right. We're gonna step forward with our left foot, right? Step forward, because the first move of every pivot turn is a forward step, right? Turning quarter to the right, we think where that is. We've just stepped here to the front. Now we're gonna turn, and we have to make sure we step our foot on our weight on our other foot, right? Let's do it again. So our left foot's free, a quarter pivot turn to the right. We step forward, put our weight there, we make the turn, and we shift our weight to the right, right? Let's do it again. Step, step, step forward, make the turn, step again. Let's do it again. Step, turn, right? Step forward, we turn while we put our weight on it, right? If we did do 2 quarter pivots, heading to the right on both, we step forward with our left, we turn and step on our right. Again, we step forward on our left, we turn and step our weight onto the other foot, the right foot, right? Step, turn, but they're all steps, right? Step forward, turn and step. Step forward, turn and step, right? Gotta put your weight on each of those, keeping those feet still as they slide for the pivot. If we did a half turn, pivot turn going to the right, we step forward on our left foot, we turn halfway around, and we put our weight fully on the other foot, right? That was a half. Hi, baby, I've got nothing else right now. They want their dinner, but it's too early. Okay, step forward, make the turn, and shift your weight to the other foot, right? If we did 2 half turns in a row, we step forward, we turn half, get our weight there, we step forward, get our weight there, turn, get our weight on that other foot, right? So practice those on your own. But remember, every pivot turn is just 2 steps. The first one's forward, then we turn and we make a step. Okay, so no matter how far we're going, I'm not going to do the 8th turns on that other side. They rarely happen over there. Silly. It's not time yet, honey. It's too early. Always think about where you need to end up on your turn before you start making it. Something that can be a little confusing to people when we do these pivot turns is which way to turn. Remember, when you're dancing, whatever foot is free is going to be the foot that moves next. So if you're dancing and you've just done a move and you end up like this with your weight on your left, which foot's going to step out first to do your pivot turn? The right one, right? If you started the pivot turn with your right foot, you step forward with your right foot, just try this with me. If you try right now to keep your feet where they are and turn to the right, look what happens. You get pretzeled, okay? You just can't turn that way. So if your right foot's forward, notice now, keep your feet where they are, notice that you totally can turn any other, you can turn in the other direction, right? So if your right foot's forward on a pivot turn, you've got to turn away from that foot. Don't turn towards it, turn away from it for the turn. Okay, so if you're doing a pivot turn that starts with your left foot, again, we don't want to turn towards it. We don't want to bring our shoulder towards it. We want to go the other way. So just kind of play with that yourself so you see what I mean on that. But that's a place where it can be a little tricky. But you'll sort of get to know it. So there are some pivot turns to practice.